So Cardi B is suing this YouTuber, for saying that she's a hoe. My name is Nate the Lawyer. If you are new here, we talk about the law and the facts. If you're about that life, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Cardi B's STD liable trial begins in Georgia. Rapper probably has a pretty good shot, Rolling Stone says. Cardi B's lawsuit alleging a YouTube blogger defamed her with malicious claims about drug use, prostitution, and sexually transmitted diseases started trial in federal court in Georgia on Monday.
All right, let's talk about that because it was a lot. All right.
Yes.
So there was a lot that you spilled. You said that Cardi B prostituted.
Yes.
She was a drug user.
Yes.
Cocaine and Molly, to be specific.
Yes.
Okay. She has herpes.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about the herpes first, because Cardi B did come back and address. She kind of gave a little statement on the relationship between you and her. She said that you two lived in the same building, but that doesn't mean that she knows you.
One expert tells Rolling Stone the rapper has a good shot at prevailing. Now, just so you guys understand, I've already read the lawsuit and I've read these articles. I've read a couple of articles. I think this one does the best job of laying it out in a simple way so we can all understand without getting into the nitty-gritty details. All right, now first things first. Defamation has kind of two flavors. First, you have your first run-of-the-mill defamation. And to prove that, you have to prove 5 elements. One, that there was a false statement. That false statement was about the plaintiff. It was published to a third party. That the plaintiff's reputation was harmed by the statement. And that the plaintiff suffered some damages because of the defamatory statement. Now, if you check off all those boxes, you have defamation. But then there's also another flavor of defamation, which is defamation per se, which is a false statement about the plaintiff published to a third party. But for defamation per se, these statements are so insidious that the law assumes that your reputation was harmed and that you've been damaged by it. So you don't have to prove it. It's already assumed under law. So most people, when they sue for defamation, want defamation per se because it's just so much easier to prove. So now, since these claims are going to be judged under Georgia law, even though they're in federal court, we're still talking about Georgia law. Let's look at defamation per se in Georgia. Here is a lawyer's website that gives you not only the statutory code where it can be found, but also some case law behind it. So here's what Georgia recognizes as statements that could lead to defamation per se. Charges another person with a crime punishable by law. Illegal drug use, prostitution. Yes, those are crimes punishable by law that would fit under defamation per se. What about the allegation that Cardi B has a contagious disease? Well, it says here, charges another person with having some contagious disorder. That would also fit under defamation per se. So that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at defamation per se. So Cardi B doesn't really have to prove that her reputation was harmed or that she was actually damaged by the statements. She just has to prove that these statements were made and that they're false. So if this is true and Cardi B can show that these statements are actually false, then we're looking more at a defamation per se claim versus a defamation claim. But now there's another huge hurdle that you got to get past when you're talking about defamation, which is actual malice, but this article is going to talk about it later. The jurors are all spaced out. They have shields up, a courtroom source said, confirming jury selection was underway Monday morning despite the ongoing pandemic that previously caused delays in the case first filed back in March 2019. Cardi B, born, I'm not even going to try to say her name because I don't want to murder it, is suing celebrity gossip vlogger Tasha K, with claims K engaged in a campaign to destroy the rapper's reputation with knowingly false statements that Cardi worked as a prostitute, used cocaine, cheated on her husband Offset, and contracted herpes and HPV. So Cardi says the degrading and harassing statements started around April 2018, with K publishing a video stating Cardi's pregnancy at the time might lead to a child born with intellectual disabilities. From there, K became obsessed with slandering and harassing Cardi. In the 16 months preceding the filing of this lawsuit, K put out at least 38 videos regarding the rapper. the lawsuit states. Now, this is where I have to take issue with the article. See, the article misquotes the lawsuit. Now, here it says there were 38 videos, but the lawsuit itself, as you can see here on the screen, says there are 28 videos. Now, the difference between 10 videos, 28 and 38, doesn't really seem like a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but I just like to be accurate to let you guys know I did fact check the article. So yes, the article is wrong. It's not 38, but it's 28 as seen here in the lawsuit. One video posted in September 2018 garnered 4 million views, a substantially larger audience than Kibi typically garners, according to the complaint. Cardi has a pretty good shot at this one. Lawyer Michael S. Overing, an expert in defamation and libel law, who is not involved in the case, tells Rolling Stone. He said the alleged false claims about Cardi were very specific factual statements with the potential to be readily proven false. Assuming she is not a prostitute and has not acted as one, assuming she has not used cocaine, and assuming she did not have a sexually transmitted disease, alleged, I think all three of those things are going to really give her a leg up in terms of being able to sue successfully, he said. So now when it comes to, let's say, the sexually transmitted disease piece of it, Cardi B has actually released her medical records to the court. So she's, proven that, hey, I've never had this disease this person is talking about. I've never been treated for it. So that has happened, right? That's in the court record. So there, I think you got a pretty good claim for defamation per se. Now, this is the problem when celebrities want to sue for defamation. They have to overcome the standard known as actual malice. Now, that essentially just means you had proof or you knew that what you were saying was false and said it anyway. That is an extremely high burden to overcome. Now, here are some examples of other things that people have said about celebrities that didn't meet the threshold for actual malice. For instance, here's Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder can see, right? National Enquirer. Now, that piece of information about why they believe Stevie Wonder could see all came from this video of what looks like Stevie Wonder grabbing a mic stand because he saw it. Now, obviously, Stevie Wonder is blind. He couldn't see it. But that piece of video was enough to say, well, they didn't know what they were saying was not true, because here, look at this video. It looks like he couldn't see. That is the problem with actual malice. You have to really prove the person just kind of like made it up or just was like so recklessly disregarding the truth that they were like, here's the truth. And you're like, I'm just going to disregard it and just tell you what I'm going to say anyway. So the article goes on to say, but the problem with these lawsuits traditionally is that it's very hard to prove that you suffered any actual damages. He said, and considering Cardi B is a public figure, the rapper will have to prove that Kibi acted with reckless disregard for the truth. This is where the question of actual malice comes in, he said. Jurors will be asked to scrutinize whether Kibi had a good faith basis for each statement before making it. That's exactly what I was explaining to you guys before. Did she have a reasonable investigation that led her to conclude Cardi B had been a prostitute? He asked, what efforts did you take to verify the story? Did you really go and investigate, or are you just giving voice to a crackpot? You need to have something more than that before you go ruining someone's reputation. Kibi, whose YouTube channel is called Unwind with Tasha K, has denied any wrongdoing. She tried to countersue Cardi with claims of assault and intentional infliction of emotional distress, saying the Grammy winner began to publicly trash her online amid their dispute, leading to threats. Judge William M. Ray II dismissed those claims in July. Kibi failed to produce any evidence that the plaintiff herself threatened Kibi or made her to believe that she was going to harm her, the ruling said. All right, so you don't have to go looking around the internet for all this stuff. Link to the complaint is in the description. Link to the video where a lot of these claims were made. That link is in the description, so go check that video out. It's got some explosive stuff, and trigger warning for sure. Before you watch that video, really, really start thinking about, if you really want to watch that video, because they say some kind of crazy stuff in there. But at this point in time, do you think Cardi B has a case, right? She's already given up her medical records. She says all this stuff isn't true. Do you think that she can overcome the actual malice standard? They are doing jury selection right now, so we'll see. I'll keep up with the case to see what happens, but I think it seems Cardi may have a shot. So, and I think this may shake up the YouTube world a little bit if Cardi is successful, because now you got to watch what you say about people, right? You can't just go out there and just say crazy stuff and have crazy people on and just say anything, right? Because if Cardi wins, then, you may see a lot of videos being taken down off YouTube. So if anything, hope you enjoyed this content. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm out of here. Peace.